Love and gratitude, the key to an open heart. Love is a universal emotion that resides within each of us. We all have the capacity to feel this love, to give it and to receive it. But where does it come from? That source is within ourselves, in our own hearts. It is there that love is born and grows. However, in order for our heart to open to love, it must be ready. Each person has their own way of opening up, of letting themselves be touched by this love that lives within them. But there is a universal key to facilitate this opening: gratitude. Indeed, gratitude is a state of mind that consists in appreciating the small pleasures of life and feeling grateful for what we have. This can be simple moments of happiness, loving relationships, material possessions, etc. By cultivating this mindset, we learn to focus on the positive aspects of our lives, which attracts more good vibes and allows our hearts to open more easily. When our hearts are filled with gratitude, we are better able to feel love for ourselves and others. Self-love is essential to opening up to the love of others because it allows us to feel worthy of receiving this positive emotion. In addition, by loving our neighbor, we benefit from the positive energy we offer and that comes back to us. In short, it is important to realize that love is within us and can be awakened at any time. Gratitude is a precious key that allows us to strengthen our openness of heart and to fully enjoy this wonderful emotion that is love.
Love and happiness within reach. I talk about a phenomenon observed in people who have suffered a breakup, a kind of psychological prison that prevents them from expressing their emotions. Instead of sinking into depression, the author suggests choosing love and forgiveness to move forward. But this is not enough, because we are often conditioned by society to look for material goals to find happiness: the house, the marriage, the children, the dog. However, these are often superficial images that do not necessarily bring us joy in life in the long run. The author reminds us that love and happiness are within our reach if we know how to recognize them. It is not a marriage or a house that will bring us happiness, but the sincere and deep human relationships that we build throughout our lives. It is therefore important not to focus on ephemeral material goals, but to cultivate our capacity to love and care for the people around us.
Love and life together, a necessary fusion. Love is a complex feeling that evolves over time and requires constant communication to develop. To love, one must be whole, able to give and receive, and compatible with one's partner. Living together requires a harmonious coexistence where each person can put into practice his or her values, interests, and dreams. According to the Gemara, the woman has an important role in the man's life. She embodies the joy and happiness that relationships can bring him. Moreover, a man without a woman does not become a complete person. This union allows him to express his emotions and his goals. Love is a choice, a decision to commit together, to share moments of tenderness and complicity. Life together is a mutual enrichment where we encourage each other to develop our qualities and where we find ways to resolve differences. It is important to remember that love is an ongoing process that requires personal investment and honest communication to harmonize relationships over the long term. In short, married life is a rewarding dynamic where the blending of personalities, love and mutual understanding are essential for a harmonious and lasting relationship.
Love and relationship, two different things. Today, in our society, there are a large number of people who often confuse relationship and love. Yet these two words have very different meanings. Relationship is simply the state of two people involved in a communication, interaction, association, or connection. It can be a friendly, professional, or romantic relationship. On the other hand, love is a deep and complex feeling that involves a strong emotional attachment to a person. Love is a sweetness that is felt within us, an intense emotion that can melt our heart and give us a feeling of well-being. When we love someone, we feel a strong sympathy, benevolence, and affection for that person. However, nowadays, these two terms have been overused to the extent that they are referred to as physical contact. Being in a relationship with someone does not necessarily mean that we are in love, and vice versa. Often, relationships are based on superficial feelings and expectations, while love needs time to develop, patience, honesty, trust, and sincerity. It is therefore essential to distinguish between these two concepts. A restored relationship requires twice as much attention as love itself. Love must be felt authentically and must be cultivated every day. So, let's not confuse love and relationship, let's distinguish them to live strong and sincere feelings.
Love and sexuality from a metaphysical perspective. Love and sexuality are subjects that raise many thoughts and questions. But if we consider these notions from a metaphysical point of view, they take on a whole new dimension. Indeed, love can be considered as a manifestation of the relationship between the masculine and the feminine, which are eternal principles. According to this view, these principles are not simply biological characteristics, but rather they are manifestations of a deeper metaphysical reality. It is from this perspective that sexuality can also be understood. It is not simply a physical activity or an expression of desire, but can be seen as an expression of the harmony between the masculine and the feminine. Their interdependence and entanglement are therefore key elements in the metaphysical understanding of sexuality. Thus, love and sexuality are not simply sensations or impulses, but they are also a manifestation of the metaphysical reality of the universe. Their understanding is therefore part of a larger reflection on the principles that govern the universe and human nature.
Love and Simplicity in the Sense of Happiness by Jiddu Krishnamurti. In this book, Jiddu Krishnamurti introduces us to a profound reflection on the deep meaning of love. He invites us to consider the simplicity of love, the essential quality that allows us to feel the sensitivity that we carry within us. Krishnamurti teaches us that love is not a complicated or difficult task. On the contrary, it is easily accessible to anyone who is able to free himself from the conditioning and prejudices that prevent us from accessing it. According to him, love can only be found in simplicity, in our ability to be open and receptive to everything that comes our way. He also states that love should not be confused with attachment or aversion. On the contrary, it should be a state of consciousness, a way of life that allows us to live each moment fully in joy and peace. With a translation by Colette Joyeux and a captivating voice given by DJ Artault, this book is a call to self-discovery, to the search for inner wisdom and personal fulfillment. It is intended for all those who seek to live their lives with simplicity, spontaneity and benevolence, in order to discover the profound meaning of happiness. Love and the freedom of the soul in Greek mythology. In Greek mythology, the story of Eros and Psyche is one of the most famous and symbolic. Eros, the god of love, was tasked with hitting Psyche with an arrow to make her fall in love. But when he tries to do so, Eros hurts himself and falls in love with Psyche. The name Psyche is often translated as soul in Greek, which raises questions about the meaning of this story. The philosophical metaphor between love and the freedom of the soul is central to this story. In falling in love with Psyche, Eros discovered a new dimension of love, one that requires the freedom of the soul and leads to a truly fulfilling love for both lovers. Thus, this story shows us that love and freedom of the soul are interdependent. Both are necessary for true love to exist. It also invites us to reflect on how we love and how we allow our souls to flourish in our loving relationships.
Love and the importance of communication in relationships. In a love relationship, it is often easy to fall into the trap of wanting the other person to fulfill all our desires. However, this expectation is utopian, because it is impossible for a person to be perfect and to fulfill everything we want. The commitment in a relationship requires a great stability because it generates fears that resurface. It is important to understand that love exists, but its quality depends above all on communication. Communication is essential in a relationship. It allows us to understand each other, to talk about our expectations, our fears, our needs and our limits. It is necessary to learn to be in the language of the birds, that is to say a clear, direct and harmonious communication. Indeed, a clear communication allows to avoid misunderstandings and useless conflicts. It is not only a matter of speaking but also of listening attentively, of trying to understand the other person and of putting oneself in his place. Communication is therefore a joint action that must be practiced regularly. In conclusion, it is important to understand that nobody is perfect and that asking the other person to fulfill all our desires is utopian. Love depends above all on communication. This requires a mutual effort and regular practice in order to maintain and develop a healthy and harmonious relationship.
Love and the Soul according to François Bonnal, an inspiring conference. François Bonnal, an outstanding speaker, delivered a lecture on love and soul that touched hearts. He reminded us that the soul is nothing but love, and that our need for sensitivity, touch and space are manifestations of this love that lives within us. Indeed, the soul is often associated with something mystical, invisible, difficult to define. But for François Bonnal, it is simple: the soul is love. And this love can manifest itself in many ways, notably through our five senses. Thus, our need to touch the other, to feel him near us, to see and hear him are manifestations of this love. In the same way, our need for space, freedom and nature are all ways of nourishing this love that lives within us. François Bonnal reminds us that love is an essential need of the human being, which allows him to connect to others, but also to himself. He invites us to cultivate this love, to nourish it every day, by taking the time to feel things, to contemplate the beauty of the world around us. In conclusion, François Bonnal's conference on love and the soul was a true source of inspiration for all those present. It reminded us of the importance of love in our lives, and of the need to cultivate this dimension of ourselves in order to be at peace with ourselves and with others.
Love and the transcendence of animosities. In our frantic search for love, we are often confronted with our own animosities. Rivalries, jealousies, resentments, all of these can hinder our ability to love others, but also to love ourselves. However, there is a way to transcend these obstacles. It is by realizing that true love is not outside of ourselves, but within us, that we can begin to cultivate it. When we learn to accept all aspects of ourselves, including our darker sides, we begin to radiate this energy of love around us. We no longer need to look for love outside, for it emerges from our own essence. And so we can even love our enemies, or at least transcend our animosities by learning to see their quintessence. We then realize that we are not separate from each other, but that we are all expressions of life in the universe. To love life is therefore to learn to love ourselves and others, without condition or expectation. It is an infinite quest, but it is also the most beautiful adventure.
Love and union through Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, one of the forms of yoga, aims at uniting with divine love. This practice aims at uniting the body, mind and soul by linking them to this universal energy of love. This concept emphasizes the importance of union in life, which is also a fundamental principle of marriage. In Bhakti Yoga, the idea of love is not limited to human relationships such as friendships, couple or family love, but rather to this universal energy that binds all beings and things. Therefore, this practice teaches us to love everything, including ourselves and all living beings. The book by Sri Aurobindo, a great Indian yogi, also emphasizes the importance of intelligence in the mysteries of love. This form of intelligent love helps us to understand and appreciate the divine nature of the world and to connect with this universal energy. In short, Bhakti Yoga teaches us that love is a universal fabric that unites us all. It is a catalyst for life, allowing us to transcend the limitations of the ego and connect to deeper, higher dimensions of existence. Therefore, this practice can be a source of harmony, peace and deep happiness for all beings.
Love is a catalyst for personal growth and becoming attentive to harmony in the couple. This text explores the potential of love to help us know ourselves better and understand our own intrinsic value. It emphasizes that connecting with our partner creates an atomic vibration that brings us back to the center of well-being, recalibrating us. Although conflict is inevitable in a loving relationship, it can be a means to achieve deeper harmony. For this, loving intelligence is necessary, which involves respecting each other and being aware of each other in order to grow together. Ultimately, the attraction between two people can be seen as a manifestation of their common destiny.
Love as a guide to self-discovery. This text explores an inspiring perspective for love addicts or anyone who wants to live their love to the fullest. The author uses the metaphor of an oasis to illustrate the role of love in our lives. Contrary to popular belief, our wounds in love are not caused by a lack of love, but rather by a lack of understanding of our deepest self in ourself. By connecting with this part of ourselves, love becomes a guide that shows us the way to discover our essence. It is then that we can connect with others in a more authentic way and radiate positive energy. In short, This text invites everyone to embrace love as an ally in the quest for self in order to find true connection with others. The metaphor of the oasis offers a soothing and inspiring image to explore this perspective.
Love as energy, a reflection on its origin and impact. Love is a strange and mystical force, yet we all feel its impact deeply. But where does this energy come from, and how does it penetrate our innermost being? Some people believe that love comes from a divine source, while others maintain that it simply comes from the chemical interaction between human bodies. However, regardless of its origin, love can be devastating or healing, depending on how we feel and experience it. Mystics, who have dedicated their lives to the search for spiritual truth, often speak of a state of bliss called nirvana. They consider this state of inner peace to be the ultimate reward for those who have attained spiritual enlightenment. Although we cannot all experience the complete bliss of nirvana, we can come closer to this realization by cultivating love in our daily lives. For example, we can express our love for others through simple gestures such as smiling, listening, or being there for them when needed. We can also cultivate love for ourselves by taking care of our bodies and minds, and by giving ourselves moments of peace and quiet. Ultimately, love is an energy that is present everywhere, and it can help us heal from pain and find meaning in our lives. Whether we seek it in the depths of our being or in the world around us, love can offer us the key to nirvana, the spiritual bliss that mystics have sought for centuries.
Love before our eyes. We often spend our lives looking for love, dreaming of the one who will fill our hearts and make us happy. But sometimes love is right in front of us, in front of our eyes, and yet we don't see it. We look for it elsewhere, in ephemeral dreams that take us away from reality. We wait for the ideal Prince Charming or Princess, the perfect and infallible love, the one who will fulfill all our expectations and desires. But this quest can sometimes be a source of disappointment, because nobody is perfect, not even love. We forget that true love is the one that accepts us as we are, with our strengths and weaknesses, our flaws and our qualities. To open up to love is to accept vulnerability, uncertainty and the fear of being hurt. But it is also the possibility of living intense moments of happiness, tenderness and complicity. Maybe the man or woman of our life does not exist in our dreams, but he or she is there, close by, ready to love us with sincerity and humility. Don't look for love in the distance, take the time to observe what is going on around you. You may be surprised to discover that the person who loves you is right in front of you. Love compared to a flower according to Osho. The famous Indian philosopher Osho considered that love was comparable to a flower. Like a bee that goes from flower to collect nectar, we explore our intimacy to nourish our love. This exploration creates our individuality, which makes us unique and valuable to our partner. Thus, for Osho, love is a continuous process of self-discovery and discovery of the other. It is a journey that leads us to discover new facets of our personality and to share them with our partner. It is also a way to cultivate our personal growth and spiritual development. By comparing love to a flower, Osho reminds us that to cultivate love, we need to be patient, delicate and caring. Just as a flower needs water, sunlight and care to bloom, our love also needs to be nurtured with love and care. Ultimately, Osho's approach encourages us to see love as a process of personal growth and mutual discovery, rather than a final destination. It is a vision of love that values the beauty of each moment and urges us to be present and attentive to every moment in our relationship. Love compatibility, between astrology, numerology and psychology. February is a special month for lovers and singles. Indeed, Valentine's Day is an occasion to celebrate love, but also to ask questions about love compatibility. This is a well-known topic in astrology and numerology, which is concerned with the influence of the stars and numbers on our love relationships. However, psychology also brings an interesting perspective on love compatibility. Psychologists are interested in the personality of each partner, their expectations, desires, fears and possible blockages. They try to understand how these elements can influence the dynamics of the couple. For example, A couple in which one partner is very independent and the other very fusional may have difficulty finding a satisfactory balance. Astrology, numerology and psychology are not opposing approaches, but complementary. They allow us to approach the question of love compatibility from different angles, taking into account different factors. This allows to better understand the stakes of a love relationship and to work towards a better harmony between the partners. In short, love compatibility is a complex subject, which requires taking into account several factors. Whether you are a fan of astrology, numerology or psychology, the main thing is to have an open and curious approach, which allows you to better understand the dynamics of your relationship. Love compatibility, between theory and practice. Being in a relationship with someone means sharing special moments, ideas, common values, sweet looks and happy memories. However, before committing to a relationship, it is essential to ensure that the two partners are compatible. In theory, no one can deny that all human beings are compatible, but in practice, you have to face the reality. The question of compatibility is paramount to the viability of a relationship. Two people may have different personalities, conflicting life goals or different expectations. These differences can lead to conflict, disagreement and ultimately, the breakdown of the relationship. However, despite this reality check, we still have hope that love can overcome all differences. This romantic idea that love can solve everything is a kind of fantasy that leads us to ignore the problems that emerge at the beginning of the relationship. In the end, it is important to emphasize that compatibility is not an absolute criterion for finding love. Many happy and fulfilling relationships develop between very different people. However, it is essential to maintain realistic expectations and be honest with yourself before committing to a relationship. In conclusion, compatibility is an issue that can sometimes seem scary, but is fundamental to the success of a romantic relationship. There is always a risk of creating a doomed relationship, but by knowing what you are really looking for in the other person, being honest with yourself and communicating openly with your partner, the chances of finding the right person are increased.
Love exploration in a futuristic world. In a distant future, where love relationships have evolved into new forms, a dictionary of future love has been created. This book contains words that reflect the mores of the future, where love is experienced differently. The pages of this dictionary are covered with an aura of hope and newfound tenderness in a world that seeks harmony and peace. Thus, this book presents us with terms that highlight the new norms and values of love in the future. Through each word, it describes the emotions that people will feel in their relationships. Through these pages, we also discover the touch of humor distilled by the author to point out the anomalies and advantages that we will meet along the way. In short, this dictionary of future love offers us an exploration of love in a universe rich in discoveries and surprises. It invites us to step out of our comfort zone and open ourselves to new ways of loving in a world that is constantly changing. And who knows? Maybe the love of the future is even more beautiful and intense than what we have known until now.
Love from Every Angle, the first podcast that discusses the different dimensions of love. This first podcast discusses the different issues that arise in a couple, whether it be in terms of child rearing, religious values, trust, freedom and boundaries, and marriage. The episode also focuses on distance and its nuances, between mystery and love ball. To answer all of these questions, loveologist Leonard offers thoughts and advice to help listeners better understand love. He also invites listeners to encourage the next episode of this podcast that undresses love without taboos or prejudices.
Love and Plato's Banquet, a quest for perfection. Plato's Banquet is a major text of ancient philosophy that explores different aspects of love. In it, the first definition of love that is put forward, according to Pausanias, is that love is the desire for what one does not have. This implies that love is not simply the desire for possession, but rather the desire for the unattainable, the desire for a beauty that goes beyond what one can possess. Socrates, on the other hand, proposes another definition of love that goes far beyond this simple desire. He sees love as a quest for eternity, a desire to transcend the limits of human existence. For Socrates, love is the force that pushes us to seek the beautiful, the beauty in order to reach our own perfection. Thus, love is an aspiration to perfect oneself by seeking to ascend to a higher notion of beauty. This search for perfection can be seen as a quest for moral excellence, a search for wisdom and knowledge, which allow us to better understand the world around us. Ultimately, love in Plato's Banquet is much more than a simple desire for possession. It is a quest for perfection that pushes us to constantly improve ourselves by seeking to attain a higher beauty and to transcend the limits of our existence.
Love in all its mysteries. Love is a universal feeling that crosses borders and cultures. Each love relationship is unique, with its own constraints and challenges. This uniqueness is what makes love so beautiful and intriguing. Sometimes a love relationship is not just a romance, but a very deep friendship that can be even more intense than romantic love. The beauty of love lies not only in the moments of passion, but also in the moments of calm and serenity shared together. In these intimate moments, lovers establish a symbiosis that surpasses them, a harmony that nourishes and strengthens them. Love does not close borders, it breaks them. It should not be reserved for certain people, certain cultures or certain religions. We are all equal when it comes to love, whether it is romantic love or deep friendship. In the end, love remains a mystery, a force that transcends our knowledge and pushes us to love without limit or condition. Whether in a passionate romance or in a rewarding friendship, love remains an indescribable and deeply personal feeling that each of us must learn to understand and appreciate.
Love in clear coherence. Love is often associated with the source, with something that flows naturally, like a river. However, in order for this love to be true, it is important that all facets of one's being are in clear coherence. Emotions must be in harmony with words and actions, so that we can assert ourselves and give meaning to what we hold dear. Integrity is a key element of true love. It is about being true to yourself, your values and your beliefs, while respecting those of others. It means being honest and transparent, not playing a role or hiding our true intentions. When we have integrity, love becomes something natural and fluid, flowing effortlessly. However, integrity does not mean being perfect. We can all have moments when our emotions overwhelm us, when we fail to align our words and actions. What is important is to recognize these moments and work on ourselves to improve. Ultimately, loving in clear coherence is a constant process of listening to ourselves and others, respecting each other's boundaries and intentions, and working on ourselves to become the best version of ourselves. It may seem difficult, but it is truly worth it, for this is how we can find true and deep love that fulfills and nourishes us.
Love in Song, through Maud Damour. Love, this inexplicable feeling that makes our hearts and souls vibrate, is often repressed by the fear of the unknown. However, the artist Maud Damour, through her song and video, reminds us that love is stronger than anything and deserves to be lived fully. In this song, the artist brilliantly transmits her passion for love and invites people to express their feelings without fear. Indeed, our emotions can sometimes dissolve into silence, but they can also be released through a song that will touch the hearts of everyone. The video of the song shows us a budding love story, with intense moments of tenderness and moments of sadness. With black and white images, the clip transports us into a poetic universe where love is the only source of happiness. In short, love is a timeless theme that continues to inspire artists of all generations. Thanks to music and songs like those of Maud Damour, we can face our fears and let the most sincere feelings that are hidden in us speak. Love in the Indian mystic caste. The caste mystic tradition in India sings love poems in the villages they pass through. The foundation of their teaching is that love seeks love, and that one who is in the essence of love no longer knows fear. This profound belief is at the heart of how the caste interacts with others, with themselves, and with the world around them. Central to their teaching is the notion that love is a state of being that exists within oneself and spreads to others. They explain that if we truly love others, it is because we ourselves are love, as it is our intrinsic nature. By connecting to this inner love, we are then able to free ourselves from fear and other negative emotions that hold us back. The Indian mystic caste emphasizes the importance of connecting to one's essence in order to be able to express this love to others. They believe that if we are truly connected to this essence, we will be able to share this love in an unobstructed, pure and authentic way. Their teaching is a reminder of the universality of love and how it can free us from our fears and limitations. By encouraging us to seek love within ourselves, they invite us to reconsider our relationships with others and the world around us.
Love in the future, a virtuous evolution towards the consideration of the soul. In today's society, many relationships are often based on superficiality and appearances. However, in the future, love is destined to take on a whole new dimension. A dimension that will take into account the soul and will be able to give birth to healthier and more respectful relationships. Daphne Rose Kingner's book The Power of the Soul in Intimate Relationships is a book that highlights the importance of the soul in love relationships. For the author, love is not just about fleeting, superficial feelings, but is rooted in the soul. In this book, we discover how love relationships have evolved over the centuries, from simple encounters based on necessity, to those guided by passion, to those that take into account the soul. This last form of relationship is the most advanced because it is not limited to the satisfaction of desires and physical needs, but also involves spirituality and understanding of the other. Love in the future will therefore be focused on this dimension of the soul. Relationships will be more fulfilling, more respectful and healthier, because they will be based on a true connection between beings. This implies that people will have to be more authentic, more open and more vulnerable in order to open the door to this soul dimension. In short, love in the future will be an evolution towards a consideration of the soul dimension, which will open the doors to more authentic and respectful love relationships. The Power of the Soul in Intimate Relationships is a book that opens up interesting perspectives for those who aspire to deeper and more fulfilling relationships with their partners.
Love in the making. Before trust is established, it takes a time of adaptation, where we walk step by step, where we discover each other. There is a kind of perpetual movement in this impulse, where we try to get closer, while preserving our individuality. It is this time of discovery that allows the love to stabilize, to settle in a reciprocity, where each one finds his place, where each one brings his completeness. Like a puzzle where the pieces fit together perfectly. But before reaching that point, there is always this little touch of nostalgia, which makes us embellish the beginning of a love story, this salutary romance which gives us back the smile and makes us want to move on. Love in the making is a journey full of pitfalls, where you have to learn to know yourself, to accept yourself, to love yourself as you are. It is a journey full of disappointments, but also of moments of grace, where we finally feel understood and loved as we are. And it is in these moments that we realize that everything was necessary, that each step, each hesitation, each attempt was essential to arrive at this precise moment, where we finally feel safe and in harmony with the loved one.
Love in the universe, between mystery and harmony. The text questions the capacity of flowers to feel love, underlining the complexity of a concept that escapes a precise definition. It suggests that love is a universal reality that regulates the harmony of the universe in the face of entropy that seeks to disrupt everything. The author considers that love is a mystery, an enigma that mobilizes our imagination and our experience, but whose total understanding remains inaccessible. Love is thus a metaphysical concept, which goes beyond the field of reason to touch our affectivity and our intuition. However, the author maintains that love is not only a feeling that concerns human beings. On the contrary, it is a universal reality that expresses itself through the harmony that maintains order in the face of entropy. Thus, love is a creative force that makes hearts beat and generates the forms of life and beauty that we observe in the world around us. In conclusion, the text proposes a holistic vision of love, which embraces both the intimate experience of each individual and the cosmic dimension of this universal reality.
Love is an inner movement. Our relationship with nature is a crucial part of our lives. We need to feel a deep connection with the earth and its elements to find balance and inner peace. This may sound simple in theory, but in practice it requires a conscious and constant effort. Love is one of the most powerful feelings we can experience, but it can be difficult to find and keep. Part of the reason for this is that in order to feel love, we must be open and vulnerable. Our body, mind and heart all need to be aligned for us to truly embrace life. However, this can be difficult because we often face emotional, physical and mental barriers that block us. To truly feel love, we must overcome these obstacles and open ourselves to the unknown. We must learn to let go of our feelings, drop the barriers we have erected and embrace life with complete confidence. This can be difficult, but it is the surest way to discover love and live a fulfilling life. Therefore, we must care for our connection to nature and maintain that connection to remain in harmony and peace with ourselves and the world around us.
Love must be lived, not just dreamed. I emphasize the importance of making love a reality in one's life rather than simply seeing it as a poetic concept or an intangible dream. In this way, the author encourages her readers to take steps to fully experience love and to learn to love authentically. Furthermore, Osho recognizes that many people know the importance of love in their lives but do not know how to experience it. He encourages them to deepen their understanding of what love is and to develop their ability to give and receive it. In sum, the message of this text is that love must be experienced with intention and involvement rather than simply imagined as an unattainable ideal.
Love of self and others. I emphasize the importance of love with a capital A, which requires to be focused on the objective to grow and make one's greatest potential blossom. For this, it is essential to want the best for the other and for oneself. It also implies knowing how to keep a fair tolerance towards oneself in order to appreciate oneself at its true value. Indeed, self-esteem is a key element to succeed in loving oneself and by extension, loving others. It is therefore important to work on oneself, by refocusing on one's needs, desires and aspirations, while keeping in mind the needs and desires of those around us. In short, the love of oneself and of others is the common thread of a fulfilling life, where everyone can blossom and grow, while contributing to the happiness of others.
Love regulated by algorithms. Since the hacking of OkCupid's algorithms and the publication of the book Optimal Cupid, the question of the regulation of love by algorithms has become a real social issue. Dating sites such as Tinder, Meetic or Lovoo are now competing with each other by proposing ever more efficient algorithms to find the ideal partner. In this context, a short film imagines a dystopian future where love would be authorized by the state only after being calculated by a love algorithm. The synopsis invites the viewer to follow the journey of two protagonists who seek to love each other despite the strict rules dictated by the state. This short film raises important questions about the place of algorithms in our love lives and the limits of technology. If love can be understood and measured by algorithms, doesn't that risk reducing love to a simple mathematical formula? And if the state regulates love, what happens to individual freedom and sentimental autonomy? In sum, this short film raises essential questions about the way technology can influence our intimate lives and the societal impacts of using algorithms to regulate love relationships.
Love setbacks as opportunities for personal growth. Love failures are often associated with confusion and suffering. However, they can also be catalysts for personal growth. When our hearts are broken and our minds are troubled by conflicting emotions, it's easy to become overwhelmed by despair and anger. But if we have the courage to look within ourselves with honesty, we can find fertile ground for deep introspection. By seeking to understand how we feel, we can discover dimensions of ourselves that we never knew existed. We can explore our fears, our doubts, our deepest aspirations and communicate with our inner self, co-creator of our existence. We can also become aware of our destructive or repetitive behaviors and decide to change them. In this way, love failures can become moments of personal transformation and growth in consciousness. By understanding the causes of our suffering, we can move towards a greater emotional maturity, which will allow us to better choose our future relationships and make them happier and more fulfilling. In this way, we can see difficulties in love as opportunities for personal growth, rather than as insurmountable trials.
Love to overcome our difficulties. It is simple to love ourselves for our qualities, but how can we love ourselves for our imperfections? How can we accept our weaknesses and failures? The answer is simple, by putting love in our difficulties. It is essential to change the way we look at our history and our emotions. Instead of seeing them as burdens, we can see them as opportunities for personal growth. This simple act of self-love allows for acceptance, which in turn allows for letting go and the possibility of moving forward. By loving our history, our past and our imperfections, we give ourselves the chance to break free from the chains that hold us back and live our lives to the fullest. In short, love is a powerful balm that can heal our emotional wounds. By putting love into our difficulties, we can transform our challenges into opportunities for growth and finally free ourselves to move forward and live our lives authentically.
Love under the eye of science. Love is a force that can seem irresistible and mysterious. However, scientists have discovered that the reactions we have when we fall in love are not just random. In fact, the brain plays a crucial role in this experience. The neural reward circuit is activated when we feel a strong attraction to a person. This area stimulates the production of dopamine, the pleasure hormone. This explains why we feel a euphoric sensation when we are with the person we love. In addition, it should be noted that this neural activity also inhibits fear in the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for our rational reasoning. Thus, falling in love can somehow blind us to impulsive decisions. However, understanding love intellectually is one way to ensure that this unique experience evolves into a stable and lasting relationship. If we are aware of how our brain reacts in the presence of our loved one, we can act accordingly and avoid the pitfalls of blind passion. In short, falling in love is a wonderful thing, but that doesn't mean we can't explore the science of love. By learning about the brain's reactions, we can ensure that our love experience turns into a fulfilling relationship.
Love without expectation, a lesson from the law of impermanence. Of all the aspects of life that can be difficult to accept, the law of impermanence is perhaps one of the most complex. For parents in particular, this reality can be particularly troubling as they watch their children grow, mature and eventually leave the family nest. I also discuss the concept of family love, which should not be seen as an obligation, but rather as a free and unselfish choice. It is mentioned that true love can only exist if it is devoid of expectations, as these can lead to disappointment, frustration, and even suffering. Thus, the law of impermanence can teach us to live in the moment, to appreciate each moment and to savor the relationships we have, without taking for granted that they will last forever. By adopting this attitude, we can free ourselves from excessive attachment, from the fear of losing those we love, and cultivate a truly selfless and unconditional love. In short, learning to accept the law of impermanence can help us understand love in a different, deeper and more authentic way. It can help us change our perception of life itself and find deeper meaning in our relationships and in our existence.
Love, a bridge between the forces of the universe. I point out our tendency to waste time and energy pursuing futile desires, such as unbridled sexuality. He contrasts this attitude with chastity, but suggests that the real advice is to always love without restraint. By uniting the opposing forces of the universe, creation and destruction, love becomes a bridge that transcends the limits of human existence. By loving unconditionally, we can move beyond conflict and difference to connect with something greater than ourselves. Love thus becomes a source of inner peace, healing and personal growth, which can help us find our place in the world. Love, a call to life. Love is a universal feeling, which has been celebrated since time immemorial through different cultures and eras. Love is considered a vital part of human existence, as it brings meaning to life and offers joy and happiness. This ode to love reminds us that love is an undeniable fact of life. When we are in love, we are more alive and have a sense of purpose and direction in our lives. We feel a deep connection to our partner and to the world around us. All of our senses awaken, and we feel an unbridled sensuality that transports us to a state of fulfillment. Love is a constant quest, which pushes us to flee from the obstacles that might stand in our way. We are called to unite in search of that unique sensation of desire and passion that embodies love. Commitment to love is a frightening and fascinating adventure that offers countless possibilities. These possibilities can include a romantic encounter that inspires a wonderful story or a project that pushes us to commit to building a life together. Hope is the driving force behind love. It is the hope of finding a soulmate, of living a life filled with romance and passion, of experiencing security and stability in a lasting love relationship that drives us to continue the quest for love. In the end, love is a call to life. It pushes us to step out of our comfort zone, to take risks, and to live every moment of our lives to the fullest. Love is the beating heart of humanity, giving us the strength and determination to continue our journey through life with love and passion.
Love, a conscious decision for a journey together. In this text, we discover the approach of Florentine, couple therapist, who considers that falling in love is an event that can happen naturally, but staying in love depends on a conscious choice of both partners. She encourages couples to nurture their relationship by connecting to what is alive, flowing and wonderful in each of them. To do this, she takes a caring and constructive approach by focusing on providing tools to nurture that relationship. According to Florentine, life together is an exciting journey that can sometimes bring challenges, but also offers exceptional rewards. She encourages couples to rediscover each other to better understand each other's needs, to better face obstacles and to achieve lasting harmony. In short, for Florentine, love is a conscious choice that requires daily work from each partner to evolve and grow together. This is how couples can reach a state of fulfillment, blossoming and happiness.
Love, a metaphysical addiction. I approach the notion of love from a metaphysical angle, comparing it to a form of addiction. According to him, whether it is an addiction to a drug or an addiction to love, the functioning is similar. The subject in the grip of this addiction feels a lack that he seeks to fill by consuming the source of his addiction. However, I emphasize that going on vacation can help to distance oneself from the recurring thoughts that sustain this addiction. The distance allows one to detoxify one's mind and to free oneself from the grip of love. But despite everything, I conclude by affirming that love remains the only effective remedy to cure this metaphysical addiction. Love appears as a force capable of filling the inner void and freeing us from our addictions.
Love, a patient and constant construction. I mention one of the essential dimensions of love, patience. Indeed, to build a healthy and solid relationship, it is necessary to take the time to discover each other, to tame each other and to gain each other's trust. Love is also about commitment and consistency, beyond the passionate feelings of the beginning. The author emphasizes that it is not by playing the hero or trying to impress the other person that one builds a lasting relationship. Rather, it is by being consistent, attentive and caring on a daily basis. Finally, the author reminds us of the importance of taking care of the other person's emotional sensitivity, by listening to their needs and offering them regular signs of affection. Thus, love is a path that requires patience, commitment and constant attention to build a strong and lasting relationship.
Love, a powerful mirror of our sufferings. Love is often perceived as a positive feeling that brings joy, fulfillment and happiness. However, it can also be a powerful indicator of our inner suffering. When we love, we are confronted with all the layers of our repressed emotions, fear, anger, feelings of abandonment and sadness. Therefore, sometimes feeling love can bring out our wounds and pain, creating negative beliefs that will become self-sabotage. In order to have a successful and fulfilling love life, it is important to take back control of our thoughts and associate them with positive effect. It is essential to understand that love is not just a feeling, but also a state of mind. This means that we can learn to love in a conscious and positive way, by choosing to work on our inner wounds and healing them. In short, love is a powerful mirror that shows us our deepest wounds, but it can also help us heal them. By learning to love in a conscious and positive way, we can create a fulfilling and successful love life for ourselves.
Love, a source of magic and connection to intuition. Love is often considered as something magical, which transcends the barriers of reason and logic. It is indeed an intense emotion, which encompasses all aspects of our being, physical, mental and spiritual. But love is not limited to this emotional dimension, it also has the power to connect to intuition. When we are in love, we feel in communion with our partner, with the world around us and even with our own inner being. This connection allows us to feel things beyond our five senses, and to bring to light aspects of our personality that we had never explored before. To be in love is to be aware of what is going on inside ourselves, and to be open to the signals that our intuition sends us. We then feel more in tune with our feelings, and we can better discern what is good for us in our life. Love also brings us great joy and benevolence towards others. We feel more tolerant, more understanding and more empathetic. We listen more to those around us and are more willing to help those in need. Ultimately, being connected to our intuition through love allows us to better perceive the world around us, to be more aware of ourselves and others, and to bring more kindness to our human relationships.
Love, a timeless emotion. When we fall in love, it is often an intense and overwhelming experience. This emotion transports us into a different universe, reveals unsuspected aspects of ourselves and makes us feel amplified emotions. And when it is well lived, love can last forever. But what some people don't realize is that it is quite possible to fall in love with the same person over and over again. Indeed, time and different experiences can change our perception of the other person, make us discover new facets of their personality and rekindle the flame. On the other hand, we can also be in love with life in general. The small pleasures of everyday life, the moments of sharing with our loved ones, the trips we take. So many things that can make us feel alive and happy. In short, love is a timeless emotion that can be experienced at any age and at any time of life. It can bring us joy, comfort and unforgettable moments, whether it is towards a particular person or towards life as a whole.